This is a Ramana Maharshi clip, a talk by Ramana Maharshi with comments by Richard Clarke. This is a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. I'm Richard. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from talk number 91. A Bengali visitor asked, "How is the mind controlled?" Maharshi, "What do you call the mind?" Visitor, "When I sit down to think of God, thoughts wander away to other objects. I want to control those thoughts." Maharshi, in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that it is the nature of the mind to wander. One must bring one's thought to bear on God. By long practice, the mind is controlled and made steady. The wavering of the mind is a weakness arising from the dissipation of its energy in the shape of thoughts. When one makes the mind stick to one thought, the energy is conserved and the mind becomes stronger. Visitor, what is the meaning of the strength of the mind? Maharshi, its ability to concentrate on one thought without being distracted. Visitor, how is that achieved? Maharshi, by practice. A devotee concentrates on God. A seeker, follower of the jnana marga, seeks the self. The practice is equally difficult for both. Visitor, even if the mind is brought to bear on the search for the self after a long struggle, the mind begins to elude him, and the man is not aware of the mischief until after some time. Maharshi, so it would be. In the earlier stages, the mind reverts to the search at long intervals. With continued practice, it reverts at shorter intervals until finally it does not wander at all. It is then that the dormant sakti manifests. The sattvic mind is free from thoughts, whereas the rajasic mind is full of them. The sattvic mind resolves itself into the life current. Visitor, can one keep the mind away from entering into the phase of thoughts before one experiences the current? Maharshi, yes, the current is pre-existent. In this dialogue, a Bengali visitor is seeking guidance on how to control the mind. Ramana Maharshi provides profound insights into the nature of the mind and its control. The visitor begins by expressing his difficulty in controlling the mind when attempting to focus on God. He shares his struggle with thoughts wandering to other objects. Ramana, in his characteristic simple and direct manner, addresses this concern by explaining that the mind's very nature is to wander. This wandering, he says, is due to the dissipation of mental energy in the form of various thoughts. At other times, Ramana has talked about vasanas, tendencies, as the root of the mind's wandering. These tendencies are based on the idea that happiness is somehow gotten from outside, from things or activities in the world. Thoughts don't just rise up. They are driven by these tendencies. When you truly find that the source of happiness is within, tendencies weaken, then dissolve. The visitor asks about the meaning of the strength of mind. Maharshi clarifies that a strong mind is one that can concentrate on a single thought without being easily distracted. To control the mind, Ramana emphasizes the importance of practice. He suggests that by constantly directing the mind towards a single point of focus, such as God, you can gradually gain control over it. This is essential for making the mind steady and preventing its incessant wavering. The visitor further seeks guidance on how to achieve this concentration. Ramana responds, by practice. He highlights that whether you're concentrating on God or following the path of jnana, self-knowledge, the practice is equally challenging. This involves bringing the mind back to the chosen point of focus whenever it wanders. The visitor expresses concern that even after significant effort, the mind tends to elude him at times. Maharshi acknowledges this and explains that in the early stages, the mind may wander intermittently. However, with persistent practice, the intervals between lapses become shorter until eventually the mind remains fixed and no longer wanders. At this point, the dormant spiritual power, referred to as sakti, manifests within. Ramana distinguishes between the sattvic mind, the pure mind, which is free from thoughts, and the rajasic mind, the active mind, filled with thoughts. The sattvic mind, he notes, ultimately dissolves into the life current, signifying a profound state of inner realization. The sattvic mind is what is needed for inquiry. He says that we should notice when our mind is sattvic and make the best use of this for our spiritual practice. The dialogue concludes with a question about keeping the mind free from thoughts before experiencing the life current referred to by Ramana. Ramana has talked about his own realization and said that he experienced a current within, a stream of existence and consciousness. Ramana reassures that it's possible to keep the mind from wandering into thoughts since the life current is always there. This dialogue provides valuable insights into controlling the mind through practice, leading to a state of unwavering concentration and spiritual awakening, as taught by Sri Ramana Maharshi. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. These videos help bring Ramana Maharshi's teachings into your direct experience. Subscribe now